Youngin.
What's up, brother?
What it do?
Come on, man. We back at it. Back at it.
Man, it's good to see you.
Likewise, brother. Likewise.
You got a book coming out.
Yes.
But I got a lot of questions for you about real estate.
Okay. It's crazy. I was just on the phone right now trying to close the deal. I'm going back and forth with my realtor now trying to docu-sign something. Get this building I've been trying to get.
ATL?
Yeah. Downtown.
Are you doing stuff in real estate outside of Atlanta?
Yes.
So name some spots if you don't mind me asking. All over?
Yeah, all over. But Detroit is where I'm going next.
Detroit's a come up, huh?
Yeah, it's a come up.
Yeah.
But I also want to do something for the community because they support me so much. So
that's right.
I want to go get a couple city blocks and see if I can renovate them and put them back in the community.
Get back to the community.
Yeah.
Do some stuff with Yes.
So
before we get into your book, first of all, I'm very excited for you about that.
For sure.
But we're gonna get to the book once we get to go through some of the things that got you to the point to have this book.
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in Atlanta,
right?
And I think we've known each other. It has to be
about 12, 13,
at least.
Yeah,
at least
if not more.
15 years.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's when your first album dropped.
Yeah. So about 15.
Okay.
Yep.
So when you first got in the game, and I'm talking about the rap game, right. What got you into the music? Was it something you were doing as a kid? Was it?
I love music. Like I was raised off of music. So where other people would just like Tupac because they liked what he was saying, I actually understood what he was saying. So I connected with him, and music was my escape from my reality. So even as a young kid, I just had a different type of passion and love for music. So when I started to come of age and I was figuring my life out, I started to notice that the only entrepreneurs I knew that were really doing successful things with these musicians, whether it was Cash Money, whether it was Rockefeller, all those different people. And I'm just like, yo, this is. I'm 5'8", so I can't go play basketball. That's not happening. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not.
I'm 6 feet and I can't play basketball.
Right.
I played earlier today, bro. I got a bunch of dudes that if they were here right now, they'd be like, "Don't be bringing that basketball to Felli."
Yeah.
And we played in the heat.
Right. So music was like it was the one thing that I understood that I knew I could do. And I just got to figure it out. So I had a love for it, and I still do.
How did you? That's dope.
Yeah. How
did you know that you were good at it?
I didn't, because in the beginning I wasn't.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, no,
okay. Same as a DJ.
Yeah, I was terrible. And by the way, just so you know, and we're talking about love for music, I bought my first SP 1200s when I was maybe like 18.
We're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, I was mixing, scratching, buying vinyls.
I started off on an SP 1200 drum machine.
No, but I'm talking about the turntables.
Oh, you talking about an SL 1200?
1200.
You said SP 1200.
Yeah.
I'm about to get into talk with you me and DJ Quick have. Right. Because we started off producing on SP 1200. But yeah, so you started off DJing.
Yeah.
Before you were rapping.
Well, what I was doing was one of my older cousins had a setup in his garage. And he used to always mix and scratch when I came over, and I was just so infatuated with it. Then I finally hustled up some money to get my own, and I put them on my dresser in my grandmother's house in my room, the room I was sleeping in. And then I had, the 2 cases. Then I had the mixer in between. But what I would do when I was hustling, I would hide my money between the cases because, you could take the top of the case off.
The foam.
Right. And I put my money in there, and I just get up every morning and mix Planet Rock with everything. R. Kelly, Bump and Grind, whatever you think of. And then my man was like, yo, we doing this party. I was like, yo, I want to DJ it. So we did a party on my man's front porch. And, I had like cheap little stereo speakers. I came and set them up.
Servant or the Pioneers or whatever, yeah.
Set it up and I DJ'd the party. And I was like, yo, I like this. So I kind of kept that going for a while. Wasn't that
doing
good
parties.
Yeah. But it wasn't I wasn't getting paid or nothing. I just had the studio. I had the DJ equipment.
And plus, it was a good cover.
Yeah, for sure. And so I did.
It was exactly the opposite with us, bro. We were throwing parties, charging $5 and not making a lot of money.
Yeah, I wasn't making no money.
We had the jungle juice on deck.
And what it was I just love music. So anything that had to do with music, I wanted to be around it. And there was this guy named Mark Scott that lived next door to my grandmother, and he had DJ equipment too, and he would like make these tapes. And I would sometimes just walk by his window and hear him mixing, and I'll go knock on his door, ask, can I come in? And I'll just sit there.
He was getting his Edward J on?
Yeah, and I would just sit there and watch him mix and scratch, and then it got to the point where he would get me to say certain things on tapes.
By the way, for everybody who doesn't understand who Edward J is, he's probably, in my opinion, the first mixtape DJ ever.
Yep.
And you have to be from Atlanta to really understand that.
Yep.
And that was the first time I heard a mixtape.
Yeah, and that's when so my cousins them put me on the Edward J, because we used to come up just to get the tapes. And then so it was Edward J.
You had to go to his house in Decatur.
Yep. So it was Edward J, and then there was when I was back and forth, when I was hustling in Miami and Fort Lauderdale, there was the Jam Pony Express.
Oh yeah.
And those guys had put me on that, right? And it was just like, when I went down there to, do my thing, I would grab a bunch of Jam Pony tapes and bring them back, because everybody wanted them.
That's
you know
dope.
what I'm saying? Yeah. So that was like my first introduction, like to like music. Of course, I had my favorite artists, but this is where I'm getting like different. And the crazy thing about the Edward J tapes is like my older cousins, because they was getting money back in the day. That's how they used to pull up on the block, bumping the Edward J tapes, and that was like you just want to sit around and listen to what they had, you know what I'm saying? Like,
bro,
it was like a lot of those records we had never heard before until they played them. Yeah,
and that's where honestly I learned and got my excitement to become a DJ through Edward J mixtapes.
Wow.
Because we lived on the South Side, Clayton County, Fayetteville, and we, if you weren't getting the music from V103 on a late night mix, and they would play like sometimes the more R&B jump off.
They weren't playing that.
They wasn't playing Byron Davis and the Fresh Crew. They weren't playing, Don't Stop the Rock and Electric Kingdom and all that.
Yep.
And all the MC Shotties, and MC Shotty was getting played a little bit on the radio.
But the other one, what's the Kilo Ali?
Well, it was Kilo G.
Yeah, but Kilo.
The other DJ?
No, Kilo Ali. Was it Kilo G or Kilo Ali?
I know he wasn't
a
Kilo
DJ.
G.
He was an artist.
Okay.
He had like the White Horse and all that. His sound was crazy.
Yeah. Edward J changed my life, bro.
Yeah.
And I've told this story over the years, but I don't want to get too much.
But people don't. It's crazy because people don't know what you're talking about, right?
A lot of times they don't, but I always send them to the So Def Bass All-Star compilation.
That was it.
Because Jermaine knew,
right?
And so I loved the fact that he put Edward J on those So Def Bass All-Star tapes. Greg Street and I have had this conversation, but Edward J, I've said it in a lot of interviews over the years that he changed my life.
Yeah,
like he doesn't even know it. I've never met him,
right?
But my boy's cousin used to bring tapes, because he lived in Decatur, and he used to come and bring tapes to over to the house.
Right.
And my boy Tony lived across the street. My boy Tony, I grew up with, is actually Young Jock's cousin.
Okay.
And he would bring these tapes, and I'm like, yo, I would lose my mind, bro. And by the way, guys, this is when tapes were really, when mixtapes were cassettes.
Yeah, cassette tapes.
But that's crazy, man. Have you told that story a lot about DJing?
Nah. We got to talking about music. I had to get into it. Like that was in my bag. But still to this day, I'll still buy 12 inches.
So yeah, no, same.
Yeah,
if I see,
12.
I have 30,000 vinyl, and I kind of stop. But every once in a while, I'll run across a piece of vinyl. I'm like, ooh, I don't have that.
Right.
And it's a bad habit. My girl, if she watches this, she's trying to get me to get rid of this stuff.
No, it's valuable,
man. So growing up, through your parties, you were hustling. That was a nice little cover for that.
Right.
When do you remember the first day you went into a studio and what you recorded the first time ever?
Well,
and who it was with?
Yeah, well, my first time really going in the studio was around some guys I was hanging with. Well, let me take that back. I used to hang out with Shorty Red in the beginning, and I would just hang in the studio with them, right? I'd just be around them, and I'd be sitting around, and I was hustling with these guys out of Fort Lauderdale, and I went down with them to hang out for spring break, and they drove up to Daytona, and they took all their cars and the Winnebagos and everything, and they had a record label. But, of course, they was getting to the money, right? So I was just like, damn, like, they had the T-shirts. It was just, it all made sense, right? And I'm just like, I'm going to do that when I get back. So when I went and bust my bag up, I got back, I took the money and went and bought studio equipment, right? And I was like, we're going to start a label. And that was the whole thing. So the first real studio I went in was a studio that I owned. We had bought like the 28, was it 24 board?
Little console.
Bus, yeah, little console, microphone.
Well, was it the one with the cassette in it? Like an
No.
8-track? Or, I mean, okay, so you guys had a big 2-inch reel?
No,
or you had the half,
that
the
was
half
too
inch.
expensive. Yeah, no,
You
we
had
didn't have
the
real. We just had the board, but we was recording on 8-at tapes.
Okay. Oh yeah.
You remember 8-ats?
The 8-at days. Yeah.
So it's like 3 VCR tapes.
Yep.
We put them in the machine.
Yep.
And we was recording on those. Then we went from those to DA88s.
Because you could get 24 tracks out of the 3 8-at
Right.
players because each of them had 8 tracks.
Right.
Yeah. Damn.
Right.
Okay.
So that's how I started. And then it went from there to like, because I wasn't really recording. We had a label. So I had artists, and we had 3 artists. One of them ended up going.
So
to
you were
prison.
all about. I want to make sure everybody understands this. You were more about getting your money more so than being an artist at that time.
For sure, 1,000%.
Okay.
And because I wanted to be Baby. I wanted to be Baby for Cash Money, Master P, and all the stuff they had going on. So one artist ended up getting 20 years. Another artist ended up getting some time. The other artist just, So now we stuck with the studio equipment. And we like, what we gonna do? I'm like, I got to do it because I was living the life. So I started getting in. Of course.
Was there any particular person was like, bro, you're living this. You should write about this. Was there anybody?
It was a couple of the homies that kept saying that, but it's just like, it's one thing to, be in the studio, but it's another thing. Like it's work. And then I wasn't that good in the beginning, right? So. I was like Eazy-E. You remember when they were trying to get
Dre
Eazy?
had to give him do a million takes to get on beat. Yeah,
get on beat. I was that, and it was like, at first I was just like, damn, like okay. And then the thing that really kind of threw me off is when I started trying to take my music out and get it played. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm already like a reserved person, so now I want to go all the way to the back of the room.
Now you got to bug radio people and
not even that. Like this was before radio, so this is like going to strip clubs.
DJs just
I got the money to pay,
yeah.
But then when nobody reacts to your music, like you kind of like, damn, like I got Rolexes on, cars outside. I'm cool. Like, why are you doing this? Because you almost like the guy who's a street guy that's getting money. You trying to rap. You almost look corny. You know what I'm saying? Because it's almost like, you trying to rap too, and that type of thing. And it was like for a long time I used to be in the back of the club, like, and God bless the dead, this DJ named DJ Fernando. Which ended up being one of my good friends. He was the Magic City house DJ on Monday night.
By the way, shout Jermaine Dupri on the Magic City documentary.
Yes, sir. And Fernando, he was destined to break my music because I used to bring him songs. He like, this ain't the one. This ain't the one. And
so he was keeping it real with you.
Yeah, and I brought him
which is rare a lot of times.
I brought him this one with Bun B. It was called Over Here. He said, I think I can work with this. So I left. I was recording one day at this other studio. He called me back. He was like, yo, you got to come through here. And I came, and it was like girls on the stage, and they was like dancing to it and saying little words.
And this is at Magic City.
Yeah. So this was going on. I was like, okay, I got some traction. So then I went back in, and I did Streets is Watching with DJ Drama. And I took him that. He's like, yeah, I like a couple of joints off them, but you got to come harder. So the tape I did after that was Trap or Die, and that was with DJ Drama. And that's when it changed. He called me. He's like, yo, you got to get up here now. I come up there about like...
This is Fernando.
Yeah, I come up there like about 2 o'clock. And as soon as I walk in the door, he's like, Jeezy in the building. He need 50,000. I'm like, whoa, I need 50,000? You know what I'm saying? So they bring me 50,000 over. And, I commenced to busting it up and throwing it like everybody else was doing. But he started playing Trap or Die. And everybody in the club was singing the whole tape, word for word. Every song, every ad-lib. And, you got him bringing things back, but they're playing the whole mixtape in the club. This has been going on for an hour, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm going, oh, my God, he did it. He did it. And I just remember in my head, and every time I went back to Magic City after that, no matter what day it was the same thing, front to back, the whole mixtape. And that's when it really started happening for me. Yeah, and all that started in Magic City.
And then shortly after that, you signed the deal with Def Jam?
Well, I brought the way I was able to bake Def Jam in was I had a buzz around the surrounding counties, so I brought them in, And
when you say surrounding county, you mean Fulton County?
No, I mean like Macon and.
Oh, you mean around Atlanta, period.
Yeah. So what I did was I brought Def Jam in. And I was like, yeah, I want y'all to come to my show. I had the show already booked. Of course, it was already sold out.
I want y'all to come to my show at the strip club.
Yeah, but I stopped at the strip club.
Right.
And took them to the strip club and let them ball out. And but they were seeing the reaction to the music. So they was like, yo, we got to sign him. And that's how I got them to come on in and sign me. Because they came, they saw the whole movement, saw everything. Then I took them to the show. It was packed, sold out. It's crazy, front to back. Everybody. And I ain't have an album yet. It's all mixtape stuff. And it was like, yo,
that was the, I don't want to say old school grind,
right,
but that's how you had to do it back in the day.
Well, the thing,
because nowadays it's everything's online, everything's social media.
Yeah, but I mean, which gives them better. I mean, we was pressing up CDs and giving them away. So for Streets Watching, I probably pressed up 200,000 CDs and gave them away. For Trap or Die, I probably pressed up 500,000 CDs and gave them away. And that's how I was creating my buzz. But just imagine how much money that is, right? And then you're saying with these guys, they're able to just push a button. They can be in Europe, Japan, France with one upload, right? We couldn't reach that far, no matter how many mixtapes we had, right? So that was the difference. It was like, then it was hands-on, but our reach was only so far. These guys are able to have their own fan base. And they might not even be selling records like that, but they got fans all over the world, right? Because they can upload,
You went through the hustle on many different levels, music, the other game.
Right. Well, we can say it now because it's the statute of limitations.
The dope game.
Yeah.
Now
it's okay to say it.
And that, all those things led up to writing this book.
Yes.
Adversity for Sale.
Yes.
The book is out now.
The book is out on August 8th. That's 8/8. You can pre-order the book now anywhere books are sold. Audibles, Amazon, wherever. And also, just so you know, I read the audio book myself, so it's in my voice. So when you're listening to it, it's your boy. Know that.
That's dope.
Yeah.
When you wrote this, obviously, because I'm thinking about if I wrote a book, I don't know how to write a book.
Right.
Did you have somebody there to help you kind of translate your life into a book? How was that process?
I mean, because it was like somebody to help me process. Shout out to Ben, my boy Benjamin. Benjamin is dope because he's one of the first big interviews I ever had. He used to work at I want to say the Source or something like that. Double XL. He used to work at Double XL. And he knew a lot of my history. So he was able to help me, just like dig deep and go back to things that I might have forgot about. You know what I'm saying? Because we have conversations like this. And he'd be like, but what about when this happened? I'm like, oh yeah, because
And he would help you kind of put it into a story form.
No, he would help me. He would help me dig deep and find it.
Right.
Because a lot of these things I had put in the back of my mind and I had moved on.
Do you tell stories in this book?
Yeah.
About stuff like that?
I mean, you're gonna hear about everything from the first time I stole something into.
Is the DJ starting off DJing part in the book?
I think some of it's in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories, Tony Yayo was on Drink Champ. Shout to my brother Nori. Shout to EFN. Before we get out of here, I got to ask you this.
Okay.
Tony Yayo and EFN got in a conversation about who was the best storyteller in hip hop.
Okay.
And Tony Yayo picked Biggie, and EFN picked Ice Cube.
Right.
You saw that?
I heard about it.
So, who do you think is the best storyteller in hip hop?
I think it's two different perspectives. I think that Big was from New York, and the way he told stories were colorful. They were vivid. He was just different with his words to kind of give you a visual or something. It's like somebody described the color, and you describe it in the way that you get it, right? And I feel like the way Ice Cube told stories, it was like rough and rugged, like concrete. It was straight to the point. It was real. So I think they're two different types of
And
people.
Cube got to, rest in peace, Biggie, see, life to make movies. And I think Biggie would have maybe got there and we would have saw a different storyteller side of Biggie.
No, but don't get me wrong. Like Biggie had it dialed in for what he did. Like nobody talks like that. You know what I mean? Like he got his thing, but the thing about it, you can tell they're from two different walks of life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You could tell Cube grew up in something that was rough and rugged, and it was barbed wire, right? And then you go to Biggie. I mean, he grew up in Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is just a different monster on its own. It's just like, you know, it's just more like, you know, Timberland boots and hustling, and so he saw things differently, right? And I think if you would have traded coach with them, you'd have got two different perspectives in two different bodies.
Have you ever been to one of Ice Cube's Big 3 games?
I have.
Yeah.
I went to one in Vegas.
You know, he's on a mission right now to basically show everybody how the NBA is hating on him.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Speaking of basketball, there's new rules in basketball. The no flopping rule. Did you see that?
I did not.
The NBA just released this. You can't flop, or it's a technical.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now guys can't act like they got hit and
you no more flopping.
Okay.
So we get to, but I want to shout out Ice Cube because everything goes in the Big 3.
Right.
And I do believe that Ice Cube is one of the dopest storytellers of all time.
Right.
Especially he's had the opportunity to do it through
that
movies.
What Can I Do is serious.
Is there a chance that this book may turn into something on a screen?
I got dreams of that. I would love to do Trap or Die the movie, or either Trap or Die the series, and it wouldn't just be about just me. It would be about that time. You know what I'm saying? It would be about all the things that were going on in that 05 to maybe 08 era. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things changed. You know, we got a black president. You know, music was different. The hustle was different. The times was different. The internet wasn't king then. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different variables for that. But yeah, I would love that.
What do you want people to remember about you when this lifetime's over?
Oh, that I lived full and I died empty. Like, you know, everything that I ever learned, I always tried to give back to my culture and my people. You know what I'm saying? Which takes me back to even writing The Recession. I was trying to put them up on game because I was in rooms with people who were telling me, and I knew they had money. They was worried about it. I'm like, I got to go tell everybody, you know, it's about to go down. And it happened just like that. And that's why people thought I was a prophet. It was like, he saw it coming. It's like, nah, I was in some rooms. And they was giving me the game. Like, yeah, it's about to be a recession.
They're waving at us. Okay. I got to get back on the air.
Oh,
you got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Where are you heading after L.A.?
Oh, back to the drive. Yeah, back to Atlanta for some more promo and Preston in New York.
Adversary for Sale.
Yeah,
Tell
Adversity for Sale by
Jeezy
Jenkins, August 8th. Make sure you get your copy, and you can get them anywhere books are sold right now with the pre-order, baby. Holla at your boy.
Love.
Love, baby.